folk indie with acoustic guitars.
Yeah. And like you were saying, like it started off maybe like folky, and we have some. I think we have some different elements that we just try to mix together. So, yeah.
What is your music, or talk about your music in relation to what happens in Iceland currently, or traditionally? Would you say your music follows a sort of traditional what's been happening over the past 20 years, or is this something new? Is folk music new for Iceland, or what is folk music for Iceland? I mean, we all know a Bjork is probably not traditional. I mean, in relation to some of the things we might know.
Well, in Iceland, this folky kind of music is kind of big, and like the singer-songwriter stuff is a big scene in Iceland. There are a lot of different elements of the singer-songwriter. Like we have Laylo, which is like a bluesy kind of girl, and then we have like Múkisson, which is like more heavier blues singer-songwriter. It's really it's really diverse, and then I guess it's a lot of different like of the folk elements going on
in Iceland.
Yeah.
Would you say that your music is like a product of that, or like coming from that, or is this something that you kind of got because of the international influence or the American folk influence, let's say, or something like that?
I think in a lot of ways, like when we first started and people were hearing us on the radio in Iceland, they didn't think we were Icelandic. They thought we were...
Exactly.
Yeah, so in a way, like, we're probably not coming from the traditional Icelandic music scene. But at the same time, I don't think there is a very like traditional Icelandic music scene. I think when people listen to Björk and Sigurðs and stuff like that, they think of Iceland. And, so maybe that's, that's kind of the Icelandic music,
Right.
It's what people think about. So
right. You're taking it in a new direction, do you think? You're taking Icelandic music. Is there, as Brynjar, am I saying that? I hate to pronounce it incorrectly, is saying there's maybe a few more folk bands. Do you think that's a result of Monsters and Men? Or is that your influence on the scene there?
No, we're definitely, if anything, influenced by them.
Yeah. We are like the youngest ones in the maybe folk scene.
Yeah, but there's a lot of things going on in Iceland. A lot of music scenes, and there's just it's very diverse. So
yeah, I mean, like there are a lot, like nobody is kind of doing the same thing. They're like nobody wants to copy the next band, so they try to make up their own.
Right.
Like, yeah.
And there isn't really a scene. Like there isn't a, there's not like a really big folk scene or I don't know, indie scene. It's like it's more.
There's only one scene, I think, and it's the metal.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot,
sure.
like there's a lot of metal groups, and yeah.
I also host a metal show, by the way.
Oh, really?
Only on Friday nights at 11 p.m.
Okay.
Now, you guys just played Fuji Rock Festival. Is this your first time to Asia? Was it your first time to Asia?
No. We've played in Tokyo once, and we played in Singapore at the Laneway Festival.
Oh, right. Yeah. And how does your music translate to the culture over here? And I know Japanese culture, Taiwanese culture, Singaporean culture are all very different, but if I can group them sort of as Asian cultures, how does your music translate here? How do you hope to kind of get your music across? Is there any sort of message? Is there some sort of a cultural similarity that you might have in your music and culture on this side of the world? Oh, sorry, it's a tough question. I know. It's a long question.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a tough question.
I mean,
the only thing that comes to mind is like, we have a lot of, like in our lyrics and just in our music, like a lot of storytelling, so, that's maybe something, a mythical kind of thing. I don't know.
I think what I'm trying to get at is how do you kind of think the Asian audiences, Japan specifically, because you were just there, and Taiwan more specifically, how do you think they will receive your music, or is there anything that they should be sort of thinking about when they're listening to Of Monsters and Men?
Should be thinking about having fun, maybe.
All right, yeah.
Because I've got the impression that the people here, they're also really nice, and they are like, I think I've never seen like a grumpy, like I've never seen people grumpy here. Everybody is like really nice and always smiling.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, they're really polite, and I think like that will translate well.
Right, having fun doesn't have a language or anything. Excellent. How big was Little Talks for you guys? I mean, this obviously is something that changed your life. One song. Tell me about that. Tell me, how did it change your life? One song.
Well, we are in Japan, so it is kind of crazy to think about it. You know, like this one song, you know, becomes a single, and it wasn't even a song that we thought would become a single. You know, but that just shows how sometimes you don't even know.
Right.
You know. So yeah, it's been crazy. You know, we've been touring now for almost 18 months, and just
a lot of work. A lot more work is what it's made, I bet.
Yeah, and like I think it maybe took us from our families. We haven't seen our families for a long time. Well, we were home for a week just a few days ago.
Right.
But like suddenly, from living with my parents and suddenly not, hardly seeing them.
Right.
So it's changed a lot. Quitting our jobs.
How does sort of the success of that song and the album in general, how does that change the future? What's going to happen in the future?
Well, we're about to finish our last leg of the tour, going home, trying to just gonna write another album. Hopefully that will go well, so we can just like keep on doing this. Yeah.
Is there so there's plans for another record?
Yeah.
Is there any timeline on that?
Not really. Like we just been talking about, I don't know, like this album came when we were not really in a hurry, and of course it's gonna be different now, you know, but because we're just writing an album just to write an album.
And like when we wrote the album, we all had other jobs. We were like working around like studio time. Like we were working and then going into studio and trying to record an album.
Right.
But now we will have a lot of time.
Yeah.
So maybe
it's gonna be quick, maybe not, but I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
right.
We're all kind of like, we're all excited to go into the studio, so I don't think it's gonna be that long until we have a new one.
Right. As they say, you have your whole life to record your first album, and then a very short time to record the second one.
Definitely.
So it does change. I know you haven't been to Taiwan, and I don't know if there's plans for that, but are there plans to come back to Asia on this tour or touring for this album?
No. This is the last leg of the tour. It's it started at Fuji Rocks, and we're going to Australia, and then we go to Europe and finish off all the festivals there. So this is our last visit to Asia. We're really sad about it. We want to travel more in Asia.
Yeah, right. Well, we'd love to have you. With the success of Little Talks and the record, pick one moment. Maybe you could each pick one moment that has really you really said to yourself, "Wow, I can't believe I'm here." Choose one moment, both of you, if you can. And it could be anything. I mean, no matter what it is. I'm sure you've probably met tons of artists that you've loved your whole life and that sort of thing. But was there any one moment for each of you where you just said, "Wow, I can't believe this"?
Nana?
Oh, I have a lot of them actually.
Well, share a few.
Share a few. Are you talking about just like at shows or just in general?
Anything at all. Anything at all.
I don't know. I mean, we've had moments, like, I think a really big moment for us was when we had been touring for a while and we decided to have a homecoming show in Iceland. And it was just a really beautiful moment because a lot of people showed up, a lot more than we expected. And we just kind of felt the love.
Yeah, right.
It was good. Like, it was just like,
It's nothing like home.
Yeah, and just seeing people, and they were so supportive, and you just kind of felt like, oh, this is really. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it was really nice. That was my favorite moment as well. Like, yeah, overall. But then we have had moments that like last year when we just started touring, we like played Lollapalooza in Chicago, and like we like it was our first. I think it was our first like major festival, and then we got on stage and we weren't sure how many people would show up.
Right.
And then like the park was filled, and yeah.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah, and we got goosebumps.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, lastly here, if we could, speaking about the future as well, now that you have a little more, I don't know what the word is, the word might be clout, a little more flexibility, a little more, the ability to do more things, is there anything that's going to be different on the next record? Is there anybody you want to work with, say, either production or artists, or how is it going to be different in the future now, after this?
Well, I think on the next album we're gonna be a little bit more focused, because we will have, that's like, it's gonna be our only job. I think that's the main difference, but I don't know, like, I don't even know where we're gonna record it. I think we're gonna record it at home. But like, yeah, feel like we've spent so much time away from home that we should just record it at home.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And then, yeah, I don't know what. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but very like, it's kind of an open book right now. We have like for songs we have some ideas, but there's nothing set in stone, and we did that for the other album. We didn't really like, we had an idea, went to the studio, it came out differently. So I kind of like that approach too, just having it kind of open.
All right. Well, guys, listen, thanks for taking the time today to talk. And here's what we'll do. We'll have you guys introduce the next song, which will be Little Talks. So if you would do us the honor, please.
All right. Hello, we are of Monsters and Men, and you are listening to...
The Little Talks.
On ICRT.